Don't think too much. Control your thoughts. What is gone no longer belongs to you, and tomorrow has not yet arrived. Both the past and the future pull you away from where life is actually happening. Be fully in the present moment.
Don't believe everything you think. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them. This is the first thing you need to realize in order to wake up and become aware. You become your thoughts when you identify with them, and you can't control them. Samurai and Zen masters used an old Japanese idea called Mushin, which means the mind without mind. And today, I'll show you how to use this old knowledge to take back control of your mind and find peace in the middle of the chaos. Let's be honest. These days, we tend to overthink things. Our brains were programmed to stay alert and look out for problems. Now, they are always at full alert. When you keep thinking about something, it turns into a cycle of worries that stops you from doing anything useful. We end up not being able to control anything when we try to control everything. It's a vicious cycle. The more we try to stop thinking, the louder the thoughts scream. The good news is that the mind can be trained, just like a muscle. Eastern philosophy may have the answer in a way that only it can find the right balance between strength and peace. What does Mushin mean? Zen Buddhism gave rise to the mental state of Mushin, which samurai used to practice on the battlefield. It means having a mind that is full of knowledge and free of judgments, unnecessary feelings, and distractions. This lets you react with accuracy and honesty. Mushin is the ability to act without the ego getting in the way, which is similar to emotional intelligence. This philosophy lets people be present without getting attached to anything. They can just let themselves be carried away by a pure state of flow. Imagine a samurai in combat. He does not navigate the fight with logic. There is no internal monologue asking, "What should I do next?" or "Am I winning?" That internal voice represents the ego, and the ego brings fear and delay. Instead, the warrior enters a state of pure presence. Like water adapting to the shape of a container, he adapts instantly to the movements of his opponent. He acts without deciding to act. His perception and his action are one and the same. This is the state of Mushin. Zen master Takuan Soho said that in this state, the mind moves freely and doesn't get stuck on anything. When a thought comes up, it is seen but not held onto. Imagine your mind as a clear sky and your thoughts as clouds that come and go. They come and go, but they don't make the sky what it is. The state of Mushin, or no mind, does not mean that you will stop thinking, because that is impossible. There is a break from the ego that happens. More specifically, Mushin is when the mind lets go of worries, fears, joys, desires, sadness, and other things. You have likely experienced this yourself. Imagine you are deep in the rhythm of a sport. Your focus narrows to a single point. The ball is moving. The goal is clear. In this moment, you are not calculating your steps. You are not thinking, "Am I doing this right?" or "Who is watching me?" The internal narrator, that voice of doubt and analysis, suddenly goes silent. Thoughts may still pass through, but they do not stick. Your body and your intention fuse into a single current of action. You are not trying to play. You are the play. This unity, where the doer and the deed become one, is Mushin. The question then is how to translate this state of mind into our modern reality. How do we find this flow in the middle of a busy routine? I believe the answer lies in understanding three fundamental pillars. Pillar 1. Watch without judging. The first and most important step in developing Mushin is to learn to watch your thoughts without getting attached to them. Picture yourself sitting by the river. Your thoughts are like leaves that are being carried away by the wind. They show up, go past you, and then you can't see them anymore. You don't have to jump into the water to catch every leaf or try to stop the river. It's just to sit and watch. This is an observation that doesn't make any judgments. When we think things like, what if I fail the presentation tomorrow? We tend to hold on to them. We argue with the thought and give it more terrible ideas. And in a matter of seconds, we're drowning in worry. Mushin asks us to do something completely different. Just notice the thought. You can say to yourself, look, a thought about the presentation, a leaf of fear of failure floating down the river of my mind, and then you let it go. Without saying whether it's good or bad, and without feeling bad about having it, you just accept it and focus on the here and now. This is the main way to get to Mushin, and it's also the main part of mindfulness. We are not stopping our thoughts. We are changing how we feel about them. We stop being the actor in the crazy play of our minds and become the calm audience watching it. Set aside 5 minutes of your day to do something useful. Just sit still and watch. Don't follow your thoughts. Just think of them as work, memory, and worry. And each time, let it go gently. Your mind will wander a lot at first. That's normal. The goal is not to have no thoughts at all, but to be aware of when you've lost yourself and gently return to being just the observer. This is what mind without mind is built on. Pillar 2. The focus on what you're doing right now. The second pillar is connected to another Japanese idea called Zanshin. This idea means the mind that stays. In martial arts, it means being relaxed and always aware, even after a move is over. It means being fully aware of what's going on before, during, and after the action. It means paying attention to what you're doing all the time. What does this do for us? When our mind is everywhere but here and now, we have too many thoughts. The answer is Zanshin. It means jumping right into the task at hand, no matter how boring it may be. The goal is for task prioritization to become a normal part of life. It's easier to figure out what tasks are important when you know what you want to achieve and what needs to be done. This means you don't have to worry about things that don't matter. You can use this for anything. Feel your feet touch the ground when you walk. Enjoy every bite when you eat. Do one thing at a time when you're working and pay full attention. The secret is not to do amazing things, but to pay close attention to the things you do every day. Zanshin helps the mind stay in the present, and Mushin grows in the present. When you are aware of what you are doing, your thoughts don't have as much power over you. Pillar 3. Breath as an anchor. If observation is the foundation and focused action is the structure, then breath is the anchor that keeps us from being swept away by the storm. When we're stressed, our breathing gets short and shallow, which sends a signal to our brain that something is wrong and makes things even more chaotic in our minds. The third part of Mushin is to use your breath on purpose to break this cycle. When you control your breathing, you send a clear message to your brain that you are safe, which helps your mind relax. When you notice your mind wandering, gently bring your attention back to the air you breathe in and out. You get better at focusing every time you do this. Stop when you start to feel anxious and your mind starts to race. Take 10 deep breaths. Make it your safe place. It is a simple but powerful practice that brings us directly into the calm of Mushin. Developing the mental state of Mushin can help you in many ways in both your personal and professional life. When we learn to calm, focus, and not judge our minds, we can handle life's problems better, enjoy each moment more, and build deeper, more meaningful relationships. Mushin helps us accept life as it is, with all of its good and bad parts. It invites us to release the heavy thoughts that burden the mind. By clearing this weight, we change the dynamic. We are no longer controlled by the noise, but gain the clarity to command our own peace. This quiet strength allows us to embrace the present and find the freedom to truly flow with life.